Void critters are my favourite obscure piece of Sims lore, so today I'm going to be doing a deep dive into what they are and everything we know about them. Throughout The Sims 4's lifespan, they have been slowly introduced to us. Until now, we have a total count of 20 void critters, a card collection, and a TV show. If you don't know what void critters are, they take inspiration from Pokemon, being fictional creatures which fight each other in card battles. They are fictional in-universe, meaning that in the Sims world, Sims recognize them as being made up, and as children's toys. Void critters were implemented into The Sims 4 with the Kids Room Stuff Pack in the form of a card collection and a battle station. Using the battle station, child Sims can level up the cards by 1 with each training session. Each of the cards gives a +3 playful emotional aura. There are a total of 20 Void Critter cards, 4 for each of the 5 elements, but special limited edition foil cards can be collected as well. If all 20 cards are collected, the household is awarded the Element Egalitarian plaque, as with all the other collections in the game. Void Critter cards can be purchased from the computer, traded for, or found in bins. The 5 elements are water, fire, earth, wind, and void. And, leaning into their Pokemon inspiration, each element is strong against a different element. Water element is strong against fire element. Fire element is strong against earth element. Earth element is strong against wind element. Wind element is strong against void element. And void element is strong against water element. Starting with the water element void critters, in order of rarity, least to most, we have Campos, described as friendly saltwater dwelling creatures which are commonly found in large schools near harbours. Plueros, amphibious lake protectors which shoot jets of water at predators. Bubulus, gentle giants which feast on underwater plants in the middle of lakes, but are able to charge ferociously at attackers when needed. And Arcticorns, prideful hunters with icicles for horns that dwell in the Arctic. I thought it was worth noting that if you have My First Pet stuff, you can actually have a pet Bubulus. So clearly, this void critter is very closely based on a real Sims creature. Also, I think Bubuluses actually exist, so next are the fire void critters. Urias appearing like small dogs and living by rock formations in deserts. They heat up their dens with their fire breath at nightfall. Cyprins, fish like balls of flame that float around volcanoes, propelled by the air currents produced by their body warmth. Fisher, symbiotic partners to cyprins, born by eating their way out of planetary crust in volcanoes. The cyprins act as lookouts to them as they enable them to survive in non-magmatic areas. And Canis, feared outcasts which can set their coats alight and reach over 1400 degrees Celsius. These are followed by the earth element void critters. Nymphea, slow-moving plant mimics which use their pollen to charm enemies and can sometimes produce invasive fungal spores in order to propagate in a safer location. My theme, living stone which can be shaped at will. They command the elements expertly and are, supposedly, the most ancient of the void critters. Simgaia, vine swingers who travel in troops and possess incredibly strong front limbs. And Sweentor, Lawn's Delight tusked metal detectors. They build their homes out of rocks and soil that they dig to find their food of choice, metals. Next are the wind void critters. Meduso, weightless air drifters with a single large nostril, often mistaken for a mouth, used to track down strong smells. Sometimes they are known as Medusito, Medusin, and Mega Meduso. They feature in the free holiday celebration stuff pack as various holiday-themed props. Avisu, shiny object lovers, occasionally referred to as gem-snatching birds that prefer to live on high-up mountains. Nimbus, gardeners who provide rain from their clouds. And Dicotyl, skilled hunters with the ability to produce gusts of wind from their wings and to illuminate the gem on their foreheads to attract others to their aid. Finally, there are the void element void critters. Wisps, ravenous eaters of negative emotions, which can phase between visible dimensions. Wiccans, terrifying fear conjurers who hide behind a lovable cross-eyed facade. Vulpes, gravity manipulators, who act as the mascots of the Void Critters, and Velids, magic wielders with the power to transfix Sims and disappear into the fog they command. They are based on the familiar version of them in Realm of Magic. It may surprise you to learn that Void Critters aren't actually from the Sim planet. In many of their descriptions, a home planet is mentioned. This home planet was supposedly created by the mytheme Void Critters many thousands of years ago. Described as having high mountains, salty waters, a biome of cylindrical rocks, Arctic waters, forest groves, active volcanoes, and rocky deserts, this planet is 114% the gravity of the Sim planet. This amplified the power of Vulpes when they arrived on the Sim planet. In addition, a specific location on the Void Critter planet was given a name, the Moven Forest, with a violet leaf canopy which enabled Vulpes to hide in as they stalked prey. Scientists have hypothesized that the Void Critter planet was ravaged by meteorites during the time Swintours evolved, causing them to develop their Lonsdaleite tusks. My favourite part of the Void Critter lore, the Void Critter TV show, has been given a lot of detail through Void Critter card item descriptions. There are 20 episodes in total, with only episodes 11 and 16 being left plotless. The show focuses on Leaf, a schoolboy, and his friends Finn and Barry. The only other named characters are Leaf's rich uncle Mervyn and his classmate Ellie. The show revolves around the Void Critters that have mysteriously began to warp into the Sim world. A villain is mentioned, supposedly using Wiccans to act out their evil deeds, but none are described in the plots of the episodes. Perhaps the villain is shown in episodes 11 and 16. Episode by episode, we have a fairly good idea of the plot. Episode 1. Leaf finds his Vulpes and saves it from the power of a mysterious force, causing them to bond and become an inseparable pair. Episode 2. Leaf's friend Finn meets his Bubaloose after it begins to live in his back garden fish pond. Episode 3. Leaf receives a letter from his pen pal in Oasis Springs, who writes of a Uria which she nursed back to health after finding it suffering from heat stroke. This was caused by the Uria not understanding that Oasis Springs does not get cold, and using its fire breath to heat up its den. Episode 4. Leaf's friend Barry has a close call when a parkour mishap at a construction site causes scaffolding to give way. Luckily, he is saved by a powerful mytheme, leading Barry to swear an oath to battle beside all mythemes. Episode 5. Leaf's rich uncle Mervyn is attacked by an Avesu who tries to steal his bedazzled cufflinks. Leaf and his friends track down the Avesu, only to find that it has used the gems to protect its eggs from predators. Episode 6. A trio of wisps attach themselves to one of Leaf's classmates. Leaf attempts to ward them off before realizing that they were helping his classmate's mood by eating his negative emotions. Episode 7. Leaf's community pool is overtaken by Pluero as their nesting ground. They enjoy the toys and refreshments left by fleeing Sims. Episode 8. Terrified after landing in a new world, a normally benign Canis begins to wreak havoc, setting fires all through town. This created a crisis as there was no local fire department, leading to Leaf racing against time to put out the fires. Episode 9. Leaf convinces a confused Swintour to stop feasting on cars in the centre of a busy road. Episode 10. Leaf's classmate Ellie uses her Meduso to beat a Dicotyl in battle, afterward taking it under her wing and teaching it fighting techniques in the local park. Episode 12. Leaf follows the lilted song of the Campos to the water's edge, where a gathering of them perform under the moonlit sky. Episode 13. Cyprins are warped into Leaf's hometown, interrupting a country fair by warming themselves on barbecues. Eventually, they go to live with the travelling fire eater. Episode 14. Sim Gaia attempt to find a home in the city block, using electrical cables as vines. After a massive power outage, Leaf manages to coax them to the outskirts of town, where they'll be less disruptive. Episode 15. A Nimbus creates an impeccable garden on the outskirts of town, only to have it destroyed by hooky-playing teens. The Nimbus begins to terrorize the teens daily with thunder, lightning, and hail until Leaf steps in and negotiates a truce where the teens retill the garden. Episode 17. The first Arcticorn arrives in the sim world, spearing a net of fish in a fishing boat. This causes the Arcticorn to become aggressive, believing the boat was stealing its kill. Leaf battles the Arcticorn, convincing it to live in harmony with the fishing boats after establishing a pecking order. Episode 18. Leaf trips over a dormant fisher, which is suffering from lack of heat. He helps it by convincing the local smelter to let it bathe in her furnace during work hours. Episode 19. Leaf frees his friends from the hypnotizing spores of the Nymphea, who took over a flower shop and began to reproduce rapidly. The episode concludes with him relocating the Nymphea to a nature reserve. Episode 20. Leaf helps to lure a flock of Medusa away from a perfume salesperson at the mall, with the smell of meat cooking on a grill. Throughout the show, the mysterious void critter, V-Lead, have both helped and hindered Leaf and his friends, motivations unknown. They appear to watch over the other void critters and may be responsible for their dislocation, as they themselves have teleportation powers. I hope the Sims team gives us more void critter content, as they are one of my favourite parts of the game. If you enjoyed the video, it would be amazing if you could give it a like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Maybe even share it with a friend. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.